Well, it's 3 o'clock and we are live, and I'm nervous. I'm so excited with my next guest, I have to tell you, because I have been binge watching his videos for the last ages, and I'm just thrilled and so delighted and excited to welcome celebrity chef Edward Hayden. My husband is telling me something. What is he telling me? 3 minutes to go. We're live. Sorry. We'll have a domestic little bit there. My husband obviously couldn't see it, but I know there's people there in the background. But anyway, sorry for that distraction. This is what happens when it's live. Ellen Gallagher is there keeping me right. I've got Edward Hayden. He's a chef. He's a TV chef on Virgin Media 1 and Ireland FM. He's a culinary lecturer. He's got his own cookery school. He is a radio presenter and broadcaster. And he's an online sensation. Edward Hayden, I am just thrilled and delighted that you're here as my guest on the Rim Junkie Show.
And it's gorgeous to be with you, and thanks very much. Thanks for such an illustrious introduction there. I know now why I don't have a business card. I'd never fit it all on it. But listen, it's gorgeous to be with you. I've seen some of the videos, so thank you for inviting me. I know it's a very high profile list that you have, so delighted to be included amongst it, so thank you.
Well, you're so welcome. And you know, I'm thrilled because there's a lot of high profile people coming. Nobody has said no to me, Edward, and you didn't either. So the girls are all there saying hello. But I'm fascinated. Did you grow up always wanting to be a chef? Did you grow up in a house full of food with his yen to cook, or did it happen in a different way?
It kind of happened a bit organically, really, to be honest with you. I did grow up in a very traditional Irish household. My mother stayed at home, and you know, my mother baked every day. She cooked the dinner. She was is a great cook. Baked every day. So today it could be a tart, tomorrow it could be a bit of brown bread, tomorrow it could be a few scones or buns or whatever. When I was younger, I always wanted to be three things: a teacher, an actor, or a chef. I remember one of the presents I got from Santa Claus when I was probably 9 or 10 or maybe 11, was a blackboard. And this blackboard, this old dusty blackboard, hung in our kitchen for years thereafter. And I used to be teaching nobody, obviously, in the night. So when I finished my leaving certificate, I went off. My journey to culinary was circuitous. So I went off to UCD to study English, Spanish, and geography, to do an arts degree, because I obviously decided, following my parents' advice, that I was going to get the good, sensible job. So I went to UCD. And very quickly, Anne, I realised that the world or the environment of Belfield and UCD wasn't for me. This small little town country guy going up on the bus on a Sunday night. And I absolutely just got eclipsed by the whole experience. And very soon into the experience, I knew it wasn't for me, but as is the case with good Irish country boys, you finish the year anyway, and you kind of have the year to fall back on. Now, I finished the year, I never fell back on it yet, but I took a year off then, and I went to work in different places. I had been working when I was in secondary school and college in a bar restaurant down here in Graignamanagh with food and drinks, and I did everything. I always say I washed the floor, the toilets, the glasses, the spuds, and the lettuce leaves, and everything in between. But I went off then, and I decided I was going to study culinary arts, and I went off down to WIT and I studied culinary arts, and you know, did lots of courses in culinary from that to this, and never returned to the world of English, Spanish, and geography. So an arts degree wasn't for me at that time. I often wonder, if I had to kind of have a little bit more maybe tenacity or sticking power, where would I be now? But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
No, Edward, I think life intervenes. I trained as a nurse. I was a stay-at-home mum for years. Then I decided to study interior design. Somehow ended up being picked to do the Shane Filan show house and RTE. That was my first client. That's where it started. These things happen. But that young fella, Edward Hayden, he knew when he was getting that blackboard, you are teaching now. You are cooking now. And you can see you're acting and presenting and broadcasting and doing the radio. So
all three did merge, and because I do a lot of acting, I'm involved in amateur drama. You might see actually in the background in my office, I have a few bits and pieces that I'm very proud of in the world of amateur drama. We actually won. I'm involved in a group in New Ross, and we won the All Ireland 2 years ago with our production of Notes on Fallen Leaves. So yeah, I actually have found a space whereby all three professions can happily coexist.
But you're certainly a natural in front of the camera. I mean, I've watched you. I think you followed me on Instagram, and then I followed you back and I found you. And I'm so glad that I did, because your personality and your passion and the real Edward just shines through. There's no fakery there. It's all really genuine. It's coming, I can sense, from a really, really good place. And you're helping lots of people. You're getting them through lockdown, Edward, because they're relying on your videos and your teaching to get them through and to divert them. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I suppose it is all genuine, Anne, and thanks for saying that. It is all genuine. We were reared in a kind of a house at home. It was like a train station, really. I'm the youngest of 5. I have a brother and 3 sisters. And, you know, our house was like a train station. I always joke, you know, you could never come down the stairs in your towel out of the shower to grab something in our house, because there'd always be someone there. And that was gorgeous. We always had people coming and going. You never know who was sitting at the table with you for the dinner. Everyone that came in that got their dinner, or they got the tea and the tart or whatever. So it was always a kind of a very welcoming, very warm sort of a house. And that kind of helped me, you know, I suppose, to form that sort of personality. And people knock the edges off of you. But yeah, it has been gorgeous to do it. You said I was natural. You couldn't always say, things happen. I do believe that. I had a book in 2008, and I remember writing to then TV3 to look for a slot, and I wrote and I rang and I wrote and I rang, and I did everything other than show up on the door to say I'm here. And as often happens in show business, they were literally just an opportunity arose at very short notice. I went up and I did it. And I remember my first morning on TV3, it was then in the kind of the garden shed. The kitchen was in the garden shed then at the time. And I was making an autumn fruit chutney. And I had my autumn fruit chutney in the pot, and I had my jar in the tea towel because it was hot and sterilised. And I was just filling in the autumn fruit chutney. And the tea towel just caught fire. The floor manager just kind of went, you know, as if to say the thing is on fire. And I just literally leaned in, folded over it, and put it into the bin. I said, Sacred Heart, I could have burnt the whole shed and everything. And I went home raging with myself, right back down to M9. I said, listen, I'm after blowing my big gig. My one chance, here it was, and it's blown. But that wasn't the case. They invited me back and have done so ever since. So you learn, and with everything that you do, you learn, you make mistakes, you make the rookie errors, and I have done it all. But in terms of the camera doesn't frighten me. Sometimes it can be more like I do a lot of, or did do a lot of MC work, charity work, going to do like all the Strictly Come Dancings and the fashion shows, and you name it, I've MC'd them all around the country. And, you know, that never intimidated me. I might be more intimidated going into a room with 2 or 3 people than going in and standing in front of everybody being in charge, because I think the rules and the parameters when you're in charge are more defined.
That's very interesting, because a lot of people are terrified, and I know all this Zoom that we're doing and all the online has terrified an awful lot of people that would have no problem on face-to-face. But I think stars are shining as well, online stars who are just very comfortable. And we've got some questions here. Well, I have a peek to see who's here and see what they're asking.
Do. Hopefully they're not asking anything naughty now, Anne.
No idea who this is. She says, hello, Anne. Looking forward to you sorting out my sofas. Great to listen to Edward. Well, I don't know. I'm sure I will love to help you sort out your sofas. Kavina's asking, what is Edward's favourite thing to cook? Everybody else is just saying hello. Roy McGarvey says, Edward is always so happy and cheerful doing his cooking. I know. Wish Edward could come and cook my tea. Lots of people saying hello. Anthea saying she loves the distraction. Brilliant. Look, it's all very positive. They're sending lovely, happy vibes to you. But here's Anne Ross. She's one of my masterclass girls. I did a cookery course with Edward in Dunbrody House years ago. It was a really enjoyable day, and I still do some of his recipes. There you go. Now, I'm remiss. When I was introducing you, I did not also say that you were an author. I'd forgotten that because the list was so long.
There you have it. Not important. My next thing, I'm going to write my life story. Hi to Anne, who from Dunbrody. I spent 5 very pleasant years working down in Dunbrody, and I worked in the cookery school down there, and I met the most amazing people. And I think that kind of made me very comfortable with people. We used to take in groups of 10 and spend the day with them, kind of just cooking and learning and laughing and dining and, you know, just getting to know each other. And it was a very pleasant time of my life. I enjoyed it really well. And so many people like Anne come back and say that they're still using the recipe. And it definitely, It helped me, you know, to get to know people, to build my profile, and also it helped me to hone my art, which is the art of culinary arts as well. So it was gorgeous. But people are very nice, and people are very, very kind by and large. You know, you get an odd lump in the call cannon when you're mashing it, when people kind of take to the keyboard and whatever. And sometimes I always think this can be the most dangerous thing that people employ. But by and large, I've been very lucky. People are very nice. And, you know, I would always encourage people to be nice. And I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea. No one is everyone's cup of tea. But, you know, there's a lot to be said for the value of being silent and being prudent. And that's always my message to people, not just about me, but in general. You know, you look at your Facebook or you look at your Instagram, and, you know, there can be such slurs against people's, you know, character, their bona fides or whatever. And you know what? There's a lot to be said for doing the veil.
Absolutely. You know, I was speaking to somebody the other day, a very high profile person. She is going to come on here with me. She's been having an abominable time on Twitter particularly. So she's deleted her account. And you're right, it's cowardly Facebook warriors or keyboard warriors, you know, who have nothing better to be doing. Who's here? Helen Walsh is here. Great to hear you. Ross mentioned Edward, love your recipes. Helen Walsh was my she's a painter and decorator, a master painter and decorator down in Wexford, and she did a fabulous interview with me. Mary Meehan says, question, what warms food for a food flask? Not soup, please. What warm food? I know that Mary works in healthcare, so I think she's out and about all the time. What could she put in a flask that's not soup to keep her nice and warm up in Donegal?
What I'm thinking, you know, what I made yesterday, and it was gorgeous, was I made the kedgeree, you know, the kind of the breakfast item, the curried rice with the smoked haddock. And I mean, I think if she made that kind of sloppy enough, that would be lovely to put into it and would keep nice. I mean, I'm thinking like, and I know she mightn't say soup. Maybe when we think soup, we think of the pureed varieties. But I'm thinking of maybe like the lovely Scotch broths. Put in a lovely stew or a casserole in there, not too thick either, or you know, a lovely Asian style chicken noodle broth with some leftover chicken from her roast chicken on the weekend. Put in some gorgeous noodles, you know, some lovely vegetable stock, some Asian spices and vegetables in there as well. Because the food flasks are great, and I mean, people are always eating on the go at the minute, and, you know, eating on the dashboard and eating in the car and all of that sort of thing. But
well, everybody is. I mean, teachers are having their lunch breaks out in their car now. Everybody is. And I suppose if you do something like that, you have something healthy and nourishing rather than picking up something that maybe is not a good option to be having.
Absolutely. Well, fair play to Mary for that. Keep up.
She's a busy lady. I know she is. And you know, one thing I love about your recipes, they're, how would I say, it's down to earth cooking, Edward, but yet there's dinner party cooking there. I mean, I must say I do love to cook, and I'm thankful that my 3 sons love to cook. I would have thought nothing of having 10 or 20 to a dinner party back in the day. And you must miss that too, cooking for lots of people and entertaining and the flamboyance of all of that.
Yeah, I miss my classes. We do lots of classes here, and I do miss the classes greatly. But I also miss the connection. I am a kind of a social butterfly. I say I'm a bird not meant for caging, you know, no more than lots of people.
Love it.
So I have found that sense of isolation to be, you know, it has been very restrictive, you know, and it's not right. I would have loved, you know, working really hard, and then when you get a run out, you could go for like a lovely lunch with friends. Or I loved nothing more. My favorite thing to do was having people over on a Friday or Saturday night, whether it was only a group of 3 or 4, or whether you had a group of 8 or 9 people, just your friends, and cook up something very casual, very conducive for convivial dining. You know, open a few bottles of wine, turn on a few tunes, and it was just gorgeous. And I suppose it's those things, Anne, the very simple things, the simple things that we probably, you know, let it be said, we're all now getting this opportunity to visit with ourselves, and things that we probably all took for granted are the things that we miss the most. So I miss the human connection. I'm a very tactile person. If I was with you now, Anne, I'd be after putting my arms around you 3 times, you know. So I do miss that as well. And obviously now, even if you meet people in the supermarket or the street, you know, you are exercising caution on your own behalf, and more importantly on theirs, because they may not wish for you to enter into their, I mean, now at one stage your personal space was up close like that. Now your personal space is 2 meters. So it has been a huge challenge. I mean, it has been a really big challenge, the whole COVID-19, the malady that has visited people, and it has brought different problems to every household. It has brought big problems to our household here and yours and lots of your listeners as well. And it's shockingly difficult. And I suppose it's good to acknowledge that, and it's good to acknowledge how difficult it is and how complex. And we're all keep saying, like with Lacune of Day, we'll get out on the other side. And it would be very interesting to see whether or not we'll have changed, or whether we'll flip-flop back into the patterns that we were in, that kind of sense of running and racing, or whether or not we will kind of savor the very simple things in life that are now a joy to us.
I actually do think there would be change completely. I hope is there an echo? Does my sound really bad?
Well, I can hear you perfectly. You're crystal clear from here.
Because I do think we're going to be happier with less. We're going to appreciate the things like having a cup of coffee with our friends, going out for lunch, going on holidays, having a beach walk.
Yeah, well, I go for a beautiful walk every day. We have a gorge there. I live in a place called Graignamanagh here in County Kilkenny, and it is the most beautiful place. And I suppose people who live in that kind of a very rural setting, you know, whilst I'm in the town, it's a very small town. And, you know, we're very privileged to be in that. I go for a gorgeous 10-kilometre walk every day. I go out the wood road, down a lane, I put in the ear pods, I listen to a bit of music, I chat with friends on the phone or whatever, I listen to a podcast or whatever. But it's just gorgeous to do those very simple things, and I suppose to acknowledge how lucky a lot of us are. Do you know how lucky a lot of us are? Because we have the basic things. We have that nice sense of fresh air. We've got a house. You know, I'm so conscious. I think I've become so conscious of our house and our home at this time. And because we've spent so much time in it now, we've all whitewashed it, as we know, and there's not a cobweb to be seen. But we think, Anne, of all the people that are not safe in their homes and how privileged we are to be safe in ours. So it's just, those are the things to be gratified for.
Beautifully said, I have to tell you. And I know, because I've been here at 3 o'clock every day since yesterday, a year ago, which I can't believe. Never thought it would be a year later, but I am. And I've been on this voyage with the girls, and I'm getting, and I'm sure it's the same for people who are watching your videos. They're saying they're binge watching and they're coming home from working in ICU at night, and this is their downtime. There are people here who live on their own, and they have said to me that 3 o'clock is the only time that they have interaction with somebody all day long. It would make me cry, to be honest. Excuse me. And
you must be nearly running out of frocks at this stage now for all these 3 o'clock lives.
Well, I'll tell you one thing,
you're keeping the glamorous look.
Whatever about the frocks, I was nearly running out of topics, and that's why I decided I would do the celebrity and the Ask the Expert interviews, which I have to say the girls are loving. It's gone really well. And I mean, to have somebody like you sitting across from me is just unbelievable. They're saying, tell me my sound is great. But so somebody did ask, what's your favorite thing to cook? What do you like cooking at home? What do you prefer to cook?
I love, and I mentioned it a few minutes ago, convivial dining. I love shared dining. Now, obviously, that's not conducive to COVID because we're not allowed to share utensils or whatever. But if I was ever having my favourite kind of a party to have at home is to have all of the food in the middle of the table and pass it around, share it. I love that kind of Spanish tapas style, yes. You know, the Italian sharing, the Indian kind of dishes as well. My favourite thing, and I know someone asked earlier on, I think my favourite thing to eat, and I just said the other day, I haven't had it in an age, is roast chicken, the roast chicken stuffed, you know, the traditional Sunday roast. So
that's really strange that you've said that, because here 2 of our boys are away, so it's Neil and myself and Jack is not a great eater, but since COVID we have started doing the Sunday dinner that I would have grown up with over in Carrick, the stuffed roast chicken with the roast vegetables and all the vegetables and the real gravy and all of that, and a proper dessert afterwards, a traditional dessert.
Yeah, and there's nothing like it. So I like that. I love doing breads. I love doing confectionery. I suppose the beauty of what I do is that, you know, it can be very many and varied recipes. So I don't like, I suppose, just keep doing one thing. I like to kind of just mix it up, and you know, I have a few things that I could do in the blink of an eye. If I got a phone call that someone was coming, or if someone's birthday or whatever, you could have meringue roulade whipped up in zip time. But I enjoy doing it. But I love, you know, that biblical message of, you know, breaking bread and sharing food, and the kind of the coming together, that sense of mehel that has been lost in so many people. I love that. So I love shared food. And for me, and I know this sounds stupid to say as a chef, but like, I love doing really nice food, using really nice ingredients. But for me, the kind of the toast of the party is the company and the people with whom you're sharing it, because without them, you know, it becomes quite flat, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Are you a savoury or a sweet man?
Oh, listen, I'm a bit of both now. And during the lockdown, I became very sweet, and I was as big as America. So I really overly indulged in the sins of the flesh. But yeah, I think we gave ourselves up to all levels of temptation. But yeah, I do love something sweet as well, I have to say, either home baked or on a Friday night now, if the wine was well chilled, I wouldn't mind a couple of squares of really cold dairy milk. Would be absolutely gorgeous as well.
Excellent. And listen, we're coming up to Easter. Any ideas for Easter? Again, it's going to be Easter with whoever. We would normally probably have extended family for Easter and things like that, and would have had a big event. That isn't going to happen. There's going to be 3 of us. But to make it special, what could the girls do to make Easter special for their family?
Lots of things that they could do, I suppose. Lamb is that kind of quintessential Easter dish, isn't it? Yes. So I mean, you could either do the shoulder of lamb or the leg of lamb. But like, if like many households, and your own included, there's not a lot of people around, something like the rack of lamb is gorgeous, right? So think then, and as I said, simplicity for me is the order of the day. So think of getting like some fresh white breadcrumbs, some grated Parmesan cheese, a little bit of chopped herbs, maybe like parsley and thyme, mixing that with some melted butter, some salt and pepper, and a few flaked almonds or something. And then spreading your rack of lamb with either a little bit of basil pesto, or a little bit of mustard, or a little bit of marmalade, even orange marmalade, and stick that lovely herb crumb to it and roast it in the oven. It would be gorgeous. Or something, and that would get you up out of the middle of the night for, is the lovely, I do a bread and butter pudding with hot cross buns. So instead of using bread, I buy or make the hot cross buns, butter those, and let me tell you, Anne, you would be in heaven.
That sounds amazing. Any booze in that or not?
Oh, you could throw a little drop of Irish whiskey. I would soak the sultanas in Irish whiskey. Or you could do that, or you could maybe mix a little bit of Cool Swan or a little bit of Bailey's, so one of those Irish cream liqueurs. Mix those up with your custard as well, and that'll keep you well panned out on the couch for Easter Sunday.
That sounds amazing. Actually, I love the sound of that rack of lamb. We use, actually, believe it or not, when we were doing it, we did traditionally the leg of lamb. It's Nigella Lawson's recipe with the lemon and garlic and rosemary marinated for 24 hours. And we used to do it in the barbecue, believe it or not, and take it off nice and pink. But I love the sound of that. I can just imagine it. And I would never have thought of putting the Parmesan with the breadcrumbs, and
it's lovely. Well. And as the Parmesan kind of just melts down, it just kind of helps to infuse the crust together and give it that kind of, that nice sense of browning. So I look forward now, Anne, Easter Sunday. I want to see the pictures up on the Insta.
Oh my goodness. Well, you know, it's good crack. Mandy Maher, who owns Catwork Modelling Agency, she's also a TVAM girl. I chatted to her last week, and she said, you need to up your Instagram game, Anne, and start taking loads of photographs of your food in Donegal. So you know what, whatever I do on Easter Sunday, I will post. I'll tag you, Edward. Karina Sin, you're making my mouth water. Sarah McGinney said, would love a nice, easy recipe. Sorry, an easy recipe for a nice sauce to go with salmon.
Yeah, now salmon is one of those things that, you know, I just love fish, and we're so blessed to have such wonderful fish. So, you know, you don't want to kind of have it adulterated or kind of huge, massively excessive flavors on it. For me, there's 2 things that come to mind instantly. One of them is a kind of a nice spicy tomato and chili sauce. So maybe just take like your onions and garlic, saute those up, add in a half glass of red wine. No, just a half, Anne. just a half. Add in a tin of tomatoes, maybe a spoon or two of cream and some chili flakes. Boil that for maybe about, and simmer it for about 20 minutes thereabout. Blitz it down with your immersion stick blender, and it's just a gorgeous. I love tomato-based sauce, so that would be one option. And the other thing would be a very simple, this is a get out of jail free sauce. It's just put some cream into a saucepan, about 200 milliliters of cream, put maybe 2 big tablespoons of basil pesto, if you have that as well, and maybe about a tablespoon of Parmesan cheese, and boil that intensely. And the cheese will just thicken the sauce really nice and simply for you. Spoon it over your salmon, maybe with some fluffy rice or mashed potatoes, and as I said, it's a get out of jail free sauce, you know.
You're unbelievable. Just like that, you can just pull it out
like
of your
that.
mind. Well, now, Sarah, there's no excuse for you not to have your lovely Donegal salmon with either of those sauces. I thought you were going to say something like dill and something, but I would never have thought of putting a tomato-based sauce with the salmon.
Tomato-based sauce is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous with the salmon. Yeah, really beautiful.
Wow. Miriam Canan up in Dublin saying, loving the live at 3. Edward, you're a joy to listen to.
Oh, thank you so much.
Slow cooker dinners. Yeah, slow cooker. We've only recently adopted the slow cooker. Are you a fan or not?
I tell you now about the slow cooker. I give you a laugh. My sister, I have 3 sisters, as I told you. One of my sisters has 3 boys. She has twin boys, which are 9 coming. They're coming 9. And then she has Sean, who is coming 3. So she bought a slow cooker, you know, because herself and her husband are working. It's a busy household. It's a zum household. She bought a slow cooker. When she bought it, she bought was too small, so she gave it to me, and she went off and bought a big one. And she said, Edward, now this will be great for you. And you know what? I just said I could think of nothing worse than a slow cooker. So I did all the things. I put on this chicken casserole one day. I put on a beef casserole another day and a lamb casserole another day. I did 3 attempts at it. And now, notwithstanding that they were lovely, they were absolutely lovely. But the chicken casserole, I'd have had it made in 40 minutes and served, ate, cleaned up, washed up after in the length of time. I had this, I just think maybe it's just because we're in COVID. Even in a normal circumstance, if you were going out in the morning and coming home in the evening, I could see the advantage of it. But I was bored off my trolley all day waiting for this beef or chicken casserole to be done when I'd have had it done an hour and a half on the stove with the beef one. So I can see their virtue, but as yet, it hasn't endeared itself to me. But I put it in the back of the press, and you know that famous back of the press that it's hard to get at. I've put it there, and in the fullness of time, when life returns to normal and I'm back on the road again, I'll give it another shot. But for me, yeah, it's not a hit yet.
I don't think it's ever going to be a hit. It's funny. I've had the same relationship with people were extolling the virtues of the air fryer, so I bought one. It is the most damnable piece of equipment that came into our house, and I've got rid of it. I just couldn't make it work for me at all.
Our houses are bursting at the seams, Anne. They're bursting at the seams because we keep buying all of this stuff, do you know? And we don't have the room for it. I don't know about you, and I'd say you could be the same now, having a look at you and looking at all your videos. I'd rather keep the room for a bit of extra wardrobe space for the clothes.
Absolutely. Well, do you know what? That's one thing I started. In fact, yesterday's video a year ago was all about decluttering your home to deep clean your mind. So these girls have their houses well and truly decluttered, as indeed I'll be honest, I have too. Sarah Ann's agreeing with you about the slow cooker. Kavina says you're a tonic. Absolutely. Yeah, more agreeing with the slow cooker. It's funny, in our old house we had an Aga and I had 3 boys, so I constantly cooked in that. But that was different. You know, you could put things into the ovens and forget. But I do know what you're saying about, we have a slow cooker. Neil uses it. I've never used it. But I suppose if you're going out to work in the morning and you were coming home to a casserole to feed your family in the evening, happy days, happy days. Now we're really nearly running out of time. I could keep you here all day. I could keep you here all week.
I'm as free as a bird. I'll stay for as long as you want me and evict me, whenever you want. But if you've anything you'd like to, I'm in no hurry.
Am I missing questions? Let me look, because sometimes I do miss them, and if 2 comes in at the same time, I might miss one.
No, I think you're moderating well now, in fairness.
No, I think we're doing okay. They're just listening to you. They just want to listen to you and listen to you and listen to you. So tell me about, so you really are busy, like in normal life, because you're teaching in, is it Waterford IT?
Yeah, my main job, if you like, the main gig is Waterford IT. I'm working down there as a culinary lecturer, and I'm course leader of the higher certificate in
Aren't they
arts
so
in culinary
lucky?
arts. Well, listen, I don't know whether they are or not, but I have this great thing that I do, and I tell them this as well. When I get into the car, and I won't say every evening, but almost every evening when I'm going home from work or any gig, we've all done lots of gigs, good gigs and bad, as I always say. But when I'm getting into the car coming home from work, I say to myself, well, have I done a good job today? And most days I can say that I have. And to me, that would be very important, because I always joke with them, even in work, when we're at a course board meeting with the staff, or if there's any little bit of discrepancy about something, or even with the students, I would say, well, listen, if I'm sued and brought to court, I can put my hand firmly on the Bible and say, Your Honour, I did my best. So to me, that is very, very important. That kind of filters right through all the things that I do in my life. I'm not saying that I'm perfect or anything like it, but I give everything my all. I give it the full shot that I have to give it. And I think that's really important. It is but a privilege and to be part of the formative years of these students' culinary careers, because they're gorgeous people. We have gorgeous people, complex, spirited, lively, layered with complexities, but layered with joy and layered with passion and vigor for the job and for the career. So it's gorgeous to be part of it. I always tell them when they're coming in that I would, when 10 years time, when they're gone and another student goes out to them on work placement and they say, God, is your man still below? All I want them to be able to say, the only requirement I have is I'm able to say, if they're able to say, well, he was always fair. Okay, so you beat everyone with the same stick. But I do tell them then when they're going that I look forward to sitting at home on a Friday night, having a glass of wine and seeing them pop up on the Late Late Show or pop up whatever. Because I think it is our job to build them up realistically. Obviously you must have a sense of realism, but that famous phrase, Mullinoga August Chuckig she. So praise the young and they will succeed and they will rise. But young people, I think, are fabulous. They get a lot of bad press. They got a lot of bad press during COVID. As well,
they were very tough for them, Edward. It's been very tough for them during COVID.
Shockingly tough. And again, like I said, there's indiscretions in all age groups. There's none of us, I'm sure, have been perfect throughout. But young people have got a lot of bad press, and they have sacrificed so much for granny and for granddad and for mammy and for daddy and for society at large. Yes, the people have made mistakes, and one side of my mouth is ready to say, and that's allowed, but I know it's not. But people have made mistakes, but they've got a lot of bad press, and they've sacrificed the opportunity to be going to college properly, to be going out on a midweek when your mother and father doesn't know, to be staying in bed in the morning with a hangover, to be getting a shift on a Wednesday or Thursday night, to be forming relationships and links. And all of that has been starved. And, whilst the fullness of time will return us to normal, but that period of time has passed for them. And that is the travesty of COVID-19 for them. But yeah, I'm all flying the flag for young people. I think they're amazing.
Tell me this, can you easily spot the serious talent when they're in the class as you get to know them? Or is it something that develops over time?
A combination of both. There are people who would have that natural ability, that natural aptitude, and are always within a position to shine. Okay, and things come easily, and I hate that phrase, but things can come easily to them. And then there are the people, there is a lot to be said, and for slow, dogged determination, brute force and ignorance, and solid determination. So we have a mixture of both. But yeah, the ones that have a spark, and that spark will always present. And again, no more than any other career, your own, whether it's your former career of nursing or whether it's the interiors or whatever, people will get on if they continue to better themselves, if they continue to educate themselves, to explore their career, to read around it, soak up as much as you can, learn as much as you can. So whether it's culinary, whether it's interior, whether it's nursing, midwifery, science, retail, whatever, we never know it all. but those that are passionate, and passion is a word that can be overused. It's an action that's underused perhaps at the minute as well. But it's passion is something that cannot be taught, I think. You either have that yearning desire for something or not. But we've been blessed. We've had wonderful students over the years, and with God's help, we'll have them again well into the future. And yeah, I'm delighted to be part of their journey. And yeah, I'm Team WIT all the way.
Well, listen, you're just so infectious. I would give anything to be in your class. But when you said that, you were talking about the kids that maybe persevere and tenacity gets them there. I remember a couple of years ago, I designed sports physio gym elite training place, and I remember one of the slogans I put on the wall was hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. That was to motivate the Michael Murphys who worked so hard even though he's so talented. But you're right, it is a combination of both. I think the passion is innate. You can't fake passion. You can't acquire it if it's not in you. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it 100% does. It 100% does. And the opportunities may present, but unless you're passionate and unless you're hardworking, you won't make the best of the opportunities. And to take the opportunity again, without sounding like the Holy Joe, but again, it's that biblical story of the talents. The people that took their talents and sowed them into the ground to bury them, or the people that used their talents to multiply them. And I suppose that is what we as educators, and educators come in all different sorts, whether it's in a college environment, whether it's in an online environment. I take that sense of responsibility when if I'm showing someone how to make a bread and butter pudding on an Insta video. If you kind of use that talent, it's the invitation is to use the talents and to grow them, and we all get better. How you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice. That's the only way to get to Carnegie Hall.
Edward, you're such a joy. Tell me this, if the girls want to follow you, find you, what's the best way to find you?
I will follow you. They can find me anywhere. I'm omnipotent. I have omnipotent power. No, they can find me anywhere. I'm on the social media platforms. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Instagram. My Instagram is Edward Entertains. Well, listen, Anne, you'd be surprised how much dodgy mail you get with that. So if you want your libido reduced or your bust increased, I have the emails in spam to suggest all of that. So Edward Entertains on Instagram, and I'm on Chef Edward Hayden on Facebook. I have 2 Facebook pages, but it's best to go to the Chef Edward Hayden because the other one is practically full. It's practically reached the capacity. So I'm keeping a little bit of wiggle room just in case an opportunity ever presents and I can't let them in because I'm at 5,000. So the other one is a public page, and people can go onto that Chef Edward Hayden, and I'm Edward Hayden on Twitter as well. I have a Snapchat account. I don't use it that much, so it's not probably the best way, but Instagram and Facebook is where all the cooking is, where all the bit of gossip is, the salacious stories and everything else in between, and people can keep on top of what it is that I'm doing. Yeah, and I would love them to do so. I would
encourage them to follow you. Come follow Rim Junkie as well. I'm taking Mandy Marr's advice, but I know, and I'm actually very interested in doing this myself, you have got what I call a Zoom tutorial to show people how to create the perfect Easter dinner.
Yeah, listen, I started. Now, Anne, I'm afraid to say it out loud, but I will anyway, because it's only between yourself and myself and the girls listening, as the fella says, and that's where it all happened. I started, I think I'm, if not the first, but among the first of the chefs who started the online videos last year. I definitely did. I think I started a day before St. Patrick's Day, just as the country went into lockdown. So I'm doing those videos a long time. I did them nearly every day for a while. Then during the summer, life intervenes and things happen, and it's no longer possible to do that. And then I went back and doing them again. And now I do them sporadically. I do them whenever I feel like doing them. I think if I was to do it in such a way whereby you were very time bound, it would become invasive to me and to my life, and that would impinge on my ability to demonstrate a sense of effervescence. But I was doing all of those videos and enjoyed doing the what I call the free content or whatever. And then so many people came to me to know what I do, kind of like tailor-made courses, whatever. And I did a few corporate gigs for a few schools and all that sort of thing. So I did a course a couple of weeks ago and it was a big hit. So we have another course. It's a Zoom cook along or watch. So you can either cook along with me on the night, I'll send you out the instructions, or you can just sit back and watch, have a glass of wine and sit back and watch and recreate it at another stage. And people can find the details of all that on Facebook and Instagram as well. It's not the hard sell. I'm never into the hard sell, and I think people either want to come or they don't, and that's the way it is.
Edward Hayden, all you have to do is smile and they will just come flowing to you. Absolutely. No,
so
absolutely. I'm definitely going to check that out because I do love to cook, and just from the little nuggets that you've thrown away here, I just know we'll learn so much more in a proper session. Carmel Quinn is saying Edward is just brilliant. And Healy says, hello, Edward, and great interview with the Kilkenny man. Edward,
the lovely Anne, and Anne is a great person. If it's the Anne I know, if it's the Anne I know from Kilkenny, is Biddy's horseshoes, and she's the best. And Anne is the best of a good person. Anne comes on. I present a radio program, and Casey Lore, and she comes on, and Anne is no more than all of us Kilkenny people. Her cup of positivity doth floweth over.
Lovely message here from Kavina Macaulay. Edward, the TV doesn't do your personality justice. You are inspiring. Listen. Would you ever talk to Virgin Media about having your own show?
Oh, I'd be too shy.
Oh, yeah, right. It would be absolutely brilliant because...
Go ahead. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Go ahead.
No, you're an intuitive interviewer. I think you can read people very, very easily. Your own personality just comes through in this effervescence.
Listen, I would love it. It would be lovely. And, you know, everything that I've got, and this is the sob story now, this is the get out your violin moment, but everything that I've done in my life, nothing came easy. But I enjoyed it. You know, I've had lots of bumps. I've had lots of things that have gone wrong. I've made lots of sacrifices that have come at ultimate costs. And, you know, there's lots of stories of irretrievable time in there and everything. But nothing has come easy. But I've enjoyed the journey. I've enjoyed the ride along the way. And, you know, I've had a lovely time. I've had lots of nice experiences, a few bad experiences as well. But, yeah, I'd love a show. And I always think when the time is right, it will come to me, you know, as opposed to courting it and, you know, trying to solicit such opportunities. I think in the fullness of time, if that is what is determined, I'll tell you a very, very quick story. And years and years and years ago, my father, now deceased, he'll be 11 years dead tomorrow, the Lord have mercy on him. And my father was a very proud man, as in like proud of his children, which is uncharacteristic of the father. Normally the mother is the kind of the gushing with pride and praise, as my mother is. But my father was very much so as well. And he was very proud of his children, of our good experiences and willing to take on our bad experiences as well. But years and years ago, when I started, and I'm a long time at this gig now, you know, I'm on the road nearly as long as Philomena Begley at this stage. But when I started, you know, and things would be happening, and I'd be having a few articles in our local paper, or your picture would be at some kind of a dog fight there, or you'd be organising something. I remember my father saying to me, he said, Edward, you've hit the big time. Right. And he was so proud and he believed it so wholeheartedly. And I remember saying to him, no, Daddy, I'll have hit the big time when I'm on the stage on the Late Late Show. So I know in my heart of hearts, something is going to happen that will land me in front of Ryan Tubridy or whoever the presenter is at that stage. It could be in 30 years' time, he mightn't be still at it. But I know that will happen and that will come true. I just don't know when it will be, or what the opportunity will be, or what I'll have to tell. Maybe I'll be telling a bad story at that time. I don't know. But it's funny, and I suppose sometimes, Anne, over the years, when I've had this sense of, you know, sometimes in any job, in any career, in any public sphere, you can get tired and you can get not so much lackluster, but you know, not so much apathetic, but kind of, you know,
bored,
at a loss as to know what it's all for. And, you know, I push on knowing that, you know, I haven't as yet in my mind, or what I determined at that time to be the big time. But yeah, it's great. My sister laughs because, you know, she'd say to me, Edward, she said, you know, just because it's not on Instagram doesn't mean it hasn't happened. And when you get it to the stage that I'm at and we're at and you are at as well, when you're building that profile and then maintaining that profile, it does at times feel like you're in a fishbowl. And, you know, I see it myself now. I kind of have to tell you what's going on, you know. I have to tell you if I'm doing this or doing walk. And, you know, sometimes that affirmation comes by public feedback. And I'd like to take this opportunity, Anne, if you don't mind me hijacking it, to thank people, because people are so kind. You can see the lovely messages that you're getting today, and I do appreciate them as well. But people are very kind and nice, but I hope it's a kind of in reciprocation for a lot of hard work that I put into it, and hopefully, whilst making it look flawless, I try to, you know, demonstrate the highest standards of professionalism as well.
Well, I'm reading these messages. Lovely to see more of Edward's personality. Love Edward's tips and tonic. That word "love" is coming up a lot. Anne Healy, it is the same, Anne Healy, because I suspect during this lockdown, when people were at rock bottom, Edward, you helped pull them up and give them a purpose, and give them a distraction, and give them a focus, give them entertainment, give them you.
Hopefully that was the case, Anne, and if that was the case, for that I'm truly thankful. And it worked both ways, because they gave it to me as well. I was beyond peeved off. Can't say the other word on the forum, but or I'll be sacked. But I was beyond peeved off as well. And listen, it gave me the opportunity, Anne, to get out of my tracksuit, to wash my hair, to brush my hair, to lacquer it up, to put on some nice clothes. And it passed a couple of hours for me, because I'd have to, you know yourself, you have to do all the prep work, no more than yourself there with the gerberas and the roses there. You have to have the flowers right in the background. You have to have the place nice, and then you'd have to clean up after it. So it passed a bit of time. You could sit down in the night, post the video then, and people were so generous with their commentary as well. So it was a kind of a two-pronged attack, and if I helped them, they helped me. But it was with great joy I read the messages. People tried this and tried that, and some people just sat on the couch and used it for a bit of entertainment value. And you know what, Anne? That's allowed.
Absolutely. Edward, I could genuinely keep you here all day, but I know you're busy, so I'm going to have to say au revoir, because I suspect I'll have you back again for sure, because these girls can't get enough of you. But I think there's a book there, Edward. Is that going to be your ticket to the late? Well, you have such a story to tell.
Who knows? I have a couple of cookery books, and yeah, I always say that I could write my life story, and I could. I'm not sure whether to be interested in reading, but listen, there's been lots of fun experiences. Lots of things have gone wrong, and it hasn't been a bump-free ride or anything like it. I can tell you that it never is. And you know, sometimes when I think about it all, and I think about the enormity of things that have happened to me that helped to mold you and to form you, it's great. There'd be a lot of happy chapters, and there'd be a few tearjerkers in there as well. And yeah, who knows? And maybe I'll write it in the fullness of time. But you know, I think it's definitely written on your heart anyway, and it's written on your mind. So whether or not that ever goes into a public arena is another time.
I can feel it. Anna Donaldson, love Edward and Alan on TVAM. Oh, Anne, what a super interview. Please come back, Edward. Please. They're all saying thanks so much. What a charming man. Oh, listen, I could just keep, and you know what? If I could get my arms, I would be hugging you as well, because I am a hugger. I can just feel this lovely energy coming down the screen. So listen, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being my absolutely amazing guest today. Mandy Marr is going to have some shoe to fill tomorrow, because I will be back, girls, at 3 o'clock. And Mandy Marr from Catwalk, the modelling agency, and she's actually got a new, what would you call it, a platform talent agency for different people. She's promoting and representing them, and she'll be interesting, because she, no more than yourself, has got lots of stories and lots of hard work and hard graft.
She's super, Mandy. We've done lots of different gigs together.
I didn't know you knew her. That's gas.
From Ireland, and you know, sometimes the world of you know, you meet people out on the road doing different gigs or whatever, and like when you're standing to the side of the car changing your clothes to go into something, you know, it's not all rock and roll, but listen, we roll with it. And thank you so much. Thank you to your fabulous ladies here. They're coming in such numbers. I appreciate your invitation, and thanks a million, and good wishes to you, and keep up all the good work, keep up all the chats, and most importantly, as you've demonstrated today, keep up the good style and the charm. Thanks, Anne. God bless.
Thank you so much, Edward Hayden. You have been a dream guest. So ladies, stay safe and stay fabulous, and I'll be back here on the button at 3 o'clock tomorrow with the gorgeous Mandy Marr. What to wear, I don't know, but I'll be back at 3 o'clock. Edward, thank you so much.
Slán agus beannacht.